Hello, my pretties. Today I have another DIY for you. This time I used my own magic and came up with my very own creation. I hope you like it. Try not to get too scared.
I'm going to start off today by cutting one of the sections out of this wreath frame from Dollar Tree. I believe it's a 14-inch frame. And you'll notice up above I have some mesh and things like that. I don't end up using those for this project, so just ignore that. And here is where I realized I actually need those little crossbars to be off as well, so I get to cut it twice. So don't do that. Now I'm going to take some electrical tape and I'm going to tape the ends of the wreath together so that it makes a crescent moon shape. I found that it kept its curve a little better if I taped the two sections together first and then taped those together in the middle. Also, be careful with those pointy ends that you cut off. I did scratch myself with them at one point. There's our crescent moon. Now I'm going to take this fabric from Dollar Tree and cover the wreath frame. I don't sew, so I'm really just kind of do a quick hack job on this and hot glue it down. So basically I'm just cutting the fabric into a similar shape as the wreath frame, but just leaving about an inch of fabric around each side so that I'm able to fold it over. And I'm cutting some slits in it so that it will adhere better to that curve shape when you're folding it. You won't have weird like wrinkles on it, or at least not too many. And actually later on I wished I had left this a little looser because it would have looked a lot nicer if I could have stuffed it a little bit with some polyfill when it was done, but I had glued it too tight and there just wasn't room to shove the polyfill in there. And there's our moon. Now I'm going to be taking this skeleton and giving her a new outfit. I don't remember where this is from. It's old. It's been in my Halloween decorations forever. But I didn't like her clothes. And I couldn't take the sleeves and skirt off because they were really glued down. So I just decided to cut off the red part. And I'm going to use some black acrylic paint to cover the red bits that are still on there. Just in case they happen to stick out, they won't be as noticeable. And I'm taking this other fabric also from Dollar Tree and I'm going to make a dress out of it. Like I said, I don't sew, so all I'm doing here is just cutting a slit into a rectangle and I'm going to fold the corners over to make a V, so I have a V neckline. And I'm just using hot glue to tack that down. Once I have my V shape, I'm going to go ahead and glue that down to the front of the skeleton. And then I'm going to trim the sides sort of at a curved angle so that they tuck underneath the sleeves. And then again, I'll just glue it down. In the back here, you can see her back is exposed, but it doesn't matter because you won't see that from the back. You'll only see the front of the wreath. Plus, you know, it's nice to show a little skin. Or in this case, I guess a little spine. Now I'm taking another rectangle of fabric and I'm going to turn that into a skirt. So I just gathered that along the edge and then I'm going to attach it to her waist. And I'm sewing it together at the top and then I'm just going to use hot glue to close the rest of the seam. And as you can see, those sleeves and skirt actually worked out really well. It kind of looks like an adorable petticoat underneath. And now I'm going to give her a belt, or a bow, I guess, a bow belt. Thought she needed something in the waist area. I'm also not that great at tying bows either, so that's why I'm tacking it down with hot glue so that it lays the way that I want it to. And with that, her dress is done. Now, this little witch hat came off of a headband that I bought at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just removing the ribbon it came with so that I can put one on that matches her outfit. So I'm using that same spiderweb ribbon to make a band around the hat. And the bottom of this hat was sealed shut, and I thought that if I unsealed it, it would fit on her head better. So I went ahead and cut that off, and I'm gluing it here. Unfortunately, when I was cutting that off, I made a hole in it, and I didn't realize it until I squeezed the hat on and burned the crap out of my finger.
Owie.
Yeah, that didn't feel good. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach her to the moon. So her pelvic bone is open, so I was able to just run a pipe cleaner through it and attach it that way. The skeletons at the Dollar Tree don't have that, so you could just attach it at the waist around its spine or something like that. And then I'm just tacking her down in some other places to make sure she stays on well and also sits the way I want her to. Here I'm using another pipe cleaner to attach her hand to the back of the frame because I want it to look like she's holding the moon. And then I'll also tack it down with some hot glue just in case. Now I can go ahead and decorate the moon. So I'm going to use some of this greenery from Dollar Tree, or I guess I should say blackery. Yuck, yuck, yuck. This is the greenery that they just call branches. That's what it says on the tag. And then these leaves came from another pick that I had from Dollar Tree. I didn't use the leaves on another project, so I kept them, figuring I'd find a use for them, and I did. So I'm gonna put all the leaves on, and then I'm taking some of these berries that I had left over from another project, also from Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna stick 3 of them in the center of each of those leaves. So it's actually almost like a Halloween holly, I guess. And then I'll take the rest of the berries and just glue them down all over the place, just so it looks pretty and more full. This bat also came from Dollar Tree and had a pin or a clip on the back that I pulled out, and I'm just going to glue it down. And then this little spider also came from a floral pick from Dollar Tree from a previous project, and I kept it figuring I could use it later. This decorative filler came from Dollar Tree as well. However, it is one of their graduation items, so it's not available year-round. I just happened to find it still hanging out in my store, and I thought it would be perfect for this. Now, these paper flowers I did purchase on Amazon, not at the Dollar Tree. Big shock. But I'm going to go ahead and paint them black so that they match the rest of the greenery or florals on the rest of the wreath. And here I'm going to make some hair wefts, some really quick, not fancy ones. So I'm going to gather up all my yarn and then cut it so that it's individual pieces. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach them to a skewer or chopstick. Once they're all attached, I'll go ahead and trim them all to the same length. And I did end up making 2 of these wefts. So I'm using my hairbrush, or excuse me, my pet brush, which is from Dollar Tree as well, and I'm gonna fluff out the hair a bit. I didn't go super fluffy because this yarn wanted to fall apart, but I also felt like it being kind of scraggly and, you know, tangly looking kind of went with the fact that it's for a witch. And here, as like I said, I'm going the lazy route, so instead of using real glue and letting it dry, I'm just going to use hot glue, and I'm going to help it go quicker by smushing it with my finger protector, and then I'm going to go ahead and just squeeze it together with my fingers as well to make sure it's all good and adhered. So that first weft I did cut in half, and I put half of it on each side of her head. So this is me showing you just putting on one side. And then this is the second one that I made to cover the back, and it's a little bit long, so I am snipping off the excess. But don't throw the excess away, because that's going to be bangs in a minute. So I'm just going to trim these down to bang length, and I will take my pet brush again and fluff them out a bit. Because these are shorter, I'm just sticking them on with a skewer to make sure I don't burn myself again. And they are still a bit long, so I am going to go ahead and give them a little bit of a trim.
I'm a fancy witch.
Now I'm going to go ahead and attach the florals that I painted black to her hat. And my last one did fall apart from getting too wet when I painted it, so I'm just going to take one of those berry picks and stick it in the middle. And I felt like we needed another star at the top near the point. Now I'm taking some little bats and a skull. These are actually the rings from Dollar Tree that you would give out as trick-or-treat gifts. I just cut them off of the ring part, and then I added glue and put glitter on them. So I put a skull on the belt, and then I put a bat on her chest, and then I'm putting one on her hat. Now I'm going to go ahead and take some Fabri-Tac and stick some of these black sequins or confetti, I guess you'd call it, onto the greenery here and there. This was also from the graduation section at Dollar Tree, so again, it is a seasonal item. And I just thought, why not paint her toes orange? And I forgot to turn the camera on, but I did add another star in her hand. I used the silver one because the black one blends in with her top. So here she is all done. I really need to get some lights because this looks so much nicer in person than it does on camera. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a happy Halloween. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.